The ancient halls of the Crystal Sanctum have never witnessed such terror. For 3,000 years, the wisest oracles, the most powerful mages, and the eldest council members have studied every single line of the Destiny Scrolls, memorizing each prophecy, each divine word that spoke of the coming of the Chosen One. But what happened 3 days ago has shattered everything they believed they knew about fate itself. The Chosen One, the mighty warrior who was supposed to be in his prime, wielding the sword of eternity and leading the final battle against the Shadow Lords, is getting younger. Not just younger, he's regressing at an impossible rate, losing years with each passing hour. And the most horrifying part? The Destiny Scrolls never ever mentioned reverse aging. If you want to understand what's really happening behind the scenes of this prophecy and which secrets have been hidden by the ancient guardians, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and comment below if you already suspected that the Chosen One could defy even time itself. Picture this: Valorion the Chosen, the legendary hero who emerged from the sacred caves just 6 months ago, stood 7 feet tall with muscles forged by divine fire and eyes that burned with the wisdom of ages. The prophecies spoke of his arrival in crystal clear terms. A warrior in his 30s, bearing the mark of destiny on his forehead, wielding powers that could reshape reality itself. Every oracle from the northern kingdoms to the desert temples had confirmed it. Every ancient text, every mystical vision, every divine revelation pointed to the same truth. When darkness threatened to consume the world, a mature, powerful hero would rise to save us all. But here's where everything goes terrifyingly wrong. And what you're about to discover will change your understanding of destiny forever. 3 days ago, the Council of Elder Sages noticed something that made their blood run cold. Valorion, who had been preparing for the final assault on the Obsidian Fortress, looked different, younger. His beard, once thick and silver-streaked with wisdom, had become lighter, softer. The deep lines of experience around his eyes were smoothing away like morning mist. At first, they thought it was some kind of blessing from the gods, a divine gift to strengthen their champion for the ultimate battle. But you can probably imagine the growing horror when they realized the truth. This wasn't divine enhancement, this was reverse aging, and it was accelerating. Master Eldris, the keeper of the Destiny Scrolls, spent 17 hours straight searching through every prophecy, every ancient verse, every cryptic prediction that had ever been recorded about the Chosen One. The scrolls spoke of his birth, his training, his trials, his ultimate victory, but nowhere, absolutely nowhere, was there even a whisper about reverse aging. According to the most sacred texts from the Oracle of Eternal Flames, the prophecy was supposed to unfold like this. The Chosen One would appear in his prime, gather the 5 sacred artifacts, unite the scattered kingdoms, and lead the army of light to victory before his 40th birthday. But what happens when your prophesied savior is getting younger instead of older? What happens when the timeline of destiny itself starts crumbling? The situation became truly catastrophic yesterday morning. Valorion, who had looked like a man of 28 just 24 hours earlier, now appeared to be barely 22. His voice, once deep and commanding, had risen in pitch. His hands, which had gripped the sword of eternity with unwavering strength, seemed smaller, less certain. The armor that had fit him perfectly was now too large, hanging loose on his shrinking frame. And here's the part that will absolutely shock you. The magical artifacts that were supposed to respond to his mature warrior's spirit were beginning to reject him. Can you imagine the panic spreading through the allied kingdoms when news of this impossible transformation reached them? King Aldrich of the Western Realms, who had pledged his entire army to follow the Chosen One, sent urgent messages demanding explanations. Queen Seraphina of the Eastern Territories, who had already positioned her forces for the final battle, threatened to withdraw her support if the prophecy was proving false. The northern barbarian clans, traditionally skeptical of prophecies anyway, began openly questioning whether Valorion was truly the Chosen One at all, or if this was all some elaborate deception by the Shadow Lords themselves. But wait, because what happened next will shake you to your core. The High Priestess of the Temple of Infinite Wisdom received a vision, not from the gods of light, but from something far older, far more mysterious. In her trance, she saw the truth that the oracles had missed, the secret that had been hidden in plain sight for millennia. The reverse aging wasn't a curse or a mistake in the prophecy. It was a test, but a test of what? And administered by whom? The vision showed her glimpses of an ancient power, older than the gods themselves, older than the very concept of destiny, manipulating the flow of time around the Chosen One for reasons that no mortal mind could fully comprehend. Think about the implications of this revelation for just a moment. If the Chosen One continues aging backwards at this rate, he'll be a teenager within a week, a child within 2 weeks. And then, what? Will he simply vanish into nothingness, taking with him any hope of defeating the Shadow Lords? Or is this mysterious ancient power preparing him for something even greater, something so unprecedented that it required breaking the very laws of time and prophecy? The Master Chroniclers have been working day and night, cross-referencing legends from the lost civilizations, searching for any mention of reverse aging in their heroes or chosen ones. What they discovered in the Obsidian archives will blow your mind completely. There are fragmentary references scattered across dozens of ancient cultures to something called the temporal convergence, a cosmic event that occurs once every 50,000 years, when time itself becomes malleable around those touched by primordial destiny. According to these nearly forgotten texts, during a temporal convergence, the chosen champions of fate don't just battle evil in the present, they battle it across all possible timelines simultaneously. But to do this, to become unstuck from linear time, they must first shed their temporal anchoring, which manifests as, you guessed it, reverse aging. The Shadow Lords, meanwhile, are not sitting idle while their prophesied nemesis transforms in ways no one understands. Lord Malakar, the most cunning of the Dark Rulers, has accelerated his own plans, sensing that something unprecedented is happening to the cosmic balance. His spies report that Valorion's reverse aging has created ripples in the fabric of reality itself. Time flows differently in his presence now. Warriors who fight beside him move faster, think quicker, as if his temporal distortion is affecting everyone around him. Crops grow backward in the fields where he walks, returning to seeds, then to nothing. Rivers flow uphill in his vicinity, and the very stars in the sky shift their positions when he gazes upon them. But here's where things get truly mind-bending, and what you're about to learn will make you question everything you thought you knew about destiny. The Oracle of the Crimson Veil, considered the most accurate prophet in the known world, has emerged from a 7-day trance with news that changes everything. She revealed that the destiny scrolls everyone has been following aren't the original prophecies at all. They're copies, edited copies. The true, unaltered destiny scrolls were hidden away 3,000 years ago by the first guardians of time, who foresaw that mortals couldn't handle the complete truth about what the Chosen One's journey really entailed. According to the Oracle's revelation, the real prophecy speaks of the Chosen One as he who walks backward through his seasons, gathering strength not from years but from the innocence of forgotten time. The original scrolls describe a hero who must become younger, to access powers that only exist in the space between what is and what could be. The Shadow Lords aren't just creatures of darkness. They're entities that exist in the gaps between moments, in the spaces where time fractures, and the only way to defeat them is to master those same fractured temporalities. Can you even begin to comprehend what this means for everything we thought we understood about good and evil? About prophecy and destiny? If the Oracle is correct, then Valorion isn't breaking the prophecy by growing younger. He's finally beginning to fulfill it properly. But this raises terrifying questions that keep the wisest sages awake at night, staring at the ceiling in existential dread. If the Guardians of Time felt the need to hide this truth for 3 millennia, What else might they have concealed? What other aspects of reality are so dangerous, so reality-shattering, that they had to be kept secret from mortal minds? The transformation is accelerating now, and what witnesses describe seeing is both beautiful and horrifying beyond imagination. Valorion, now appearing to be roughly 19 years old, has begun manifesting abilities that no hero has ever possessed. He can step into yesterday and change small details, preventing injuries before they happen, undoing mistakes before they're made. His sword strokes cut through not just flesh and bone, but through the very concept of harm itself, healing his enemies even as he defeats them. When he speaks now, people don't just hear his words. They hear echoes of things he said in the future, warnings and wisdom from battles not yet fought. The armies gathering for the final confrontation with the Shadow Lords are witnessing miracles and impossibilities daily. Soldiers report that when Valorion walks among them, they remember skills they haven't learned yet, recall victories from wars that haven't happened, feel courage borrowed from their future selves. But they also experience the terrifying flip side of temporal manipulation, glimpses of potential defeats, visions of timelines where they fail, prophetic nightmares of worlds consumed by shadow. The burden of existing in multiple timeframes simultaneously is driving some warriors mad, even as it makes others stronger than they ever imagined possible. Leave a comment below about what you think is really happening to the Chosen One. Is this part of a greater plan, or are we witnessing the complete breakdown of prophetic lore itself? The political ramifications of Valorion's transformation have created chaos across the known world. The Alliance of Light, carefully constructed over decades of negotiation and mutual defense pacts, is fracturing as each kingdom interprets the changes differently. The scholarly kingdom of Ethermore believes this proves that prophecy is a science that can be manipulated and controlled. The warrior clans of the Iron Mountains see it as evidence that strength comes not from age, but from purity of purpose. The merchant republics of the southern seas worry that if time itself can be altered, then all their carefully planned trade agreements and future investments are meaningless. But perhaps most disturbing of all are the reports coming from the common people, the farmers and craftsmen and village folk who have no understanding of cosmic prophecies or temporal mechanics. They only know that their savior, their hope for survival against the encroaching darkness, is changing into something they don't recognize. Children who met Valorion weeks ago now appear older than he does. Grandmothers joke nervously that they could be his mother. The psychological impact on civilian morale cannot be overstated. How do you maintain faith in a hero who contradicts every expectation of what heroism looks like? The Shadow Lords have begun adapting their strategies to exploit this confusion and fear. Lord Vorthak, master of psychological warfare, has started spreading propaganda suggesting that Valorion's reverse aging is actually a sign of divine displeasure, that the gods themselves are withdrawing their blessing from the Chosen One because humanity has proven unworthy. Lady Nethera, who commands the armies of despair, whispers to sleeping minds across the continent, planting dreams where the shrinking hero fails at crucial moments, where his childlike hands cannot lift the weapons of destiny, where his youthful voice cannot command the respect of seasoned warriors. Yet there are signs, if you know how to read them, that something far more profound is occurring than anyone initially understood. The Cosmic Observatory of the Star Weavers has detected unprecedented stellar activity correlating exactly with Valorion's age regression. Constellations that haven't been visible for eons are reappearing in the night sky. The Aurora Professionalis, the mystical lights that appear only during times of cosmic significance, now dances every night, instead of once per century. Most remarkably, the time crystals in the Vault of Eternities, artifacts that have remained perfectly still for 15,000 years, have begun to pulse and glow with each day that Valorion grows. Younger, the truth that's emerging from these cosmic signs is staggering in its implications. And what the greatest minds of the age are beginning to understand will revolutionize everything we think we know about destiny, time, and the nature of heroism itself. The Chosen One isn't just growing younger. He's becoming unstuck from the normal flow of causality. He's beginning to exist in multiple streams simultaneously, accessing not just his own potential futures, but the accumulated wisdom and power of all the heroes who never were, all the champions who existed only in possibility until now. Master Thaddeus of the Eternal Library has discovered references to this phenomenon in texts so ancient they predate written language, preserved only through mystical memory crystals. These texts speak of the convergence of all that could be, a cosmic event where a single individual becomes the focal point for infinite potential realities. According to these nearly lost histories, such an individual doesn't just save their world, they save all possible worlds, all potential timelines, all versions of reality where darkness might triumph. But the cost of such power is almost incomprehensible. To save everything, the Chosen One must sacrifice their individual existence in linear time. They must become a temporal anchor point, forever young, because they exist at the intersection of all moments, forever wise because they have access to all possible experiences. They become not just a hero, but a living embodiment of hope itself, transcending mortality to become something far greater and far more terrible than any prophecy could adequately describe. As Valorion continues his impossible journey backward through time, approaching what appears to be his 18th birthday, despite having lived for only 6 months since his emergence, the final pieces of this cosmic puzzle are falling into place. The Shadow Lords, for all their power and cunning, exist within normal temporal boundaries. They can manipulate past and future, but they remain anchored to sequential time. A being who exists in all temporal states simultaneously, who is simultaneously the wise elder, the mature warrior, the eager youth, and the innocent child, represents a form of existence they cannot counter, cannot corrupt, and cannot understand. The final battle approaches, but it won't be the clash of armies that everyone expected. It will be a confrontation between linear time and eternal moment, between the shadow of what was and the light of what could be. The Chosen One, no longer bound by the limitations of aging or temporal sequence, will face the Shadow Lords not as a single warrior in a single moment, but as all possible heroes across all possible times, wielding not just the sword of eternity, but the collective power of every victory that could ever be won against darkness. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, because in our next video, we're going to explore what happens when the Chosen One reaches his 15th year, and why the ancient texts suggest that's when his true power will finally be unleashed, rewriting not just the fate of this world, but the fundamental laws governing all of reality itself.